In every village, there are names whispered with fear. Names no one dares to say aloud once night falls. In Umudim, a small community deep in the eastern part of Nigeria, that name was Okonkwo the Dibịa. To strangers, he was a healer. To the villagers, he was a man closer to the spirits than to mortals. People believed he could speak to the gods, cure madness, and drive away evil. Mothers clutched their babies tighter when they saw him pass, not because they hated him, but because his presence carried an aura that chilled the skin. But what no one knew was that beneath that cloak of respectability, Okonkwo was a beast, one whose heart had long ceased to be human. Okonkwo's hut stood at the edge of the forest, where shadows always seemed darker. Men came to him with disputes, widows with illnesses, and youths with questions about destiny. He welcomed all with a crooked smile. Yet in secret, he committed unspeakable atrocities. He harbored thieves and killers, feeding them and hiding them from justice. He preyed upon widows, forcing himself on them and seizing their land when they could not resist. And worst of all, he had a killing ritual so dreadful that even the bravest warrior would tremble at the thought. When he marked you as his prey, he would invite you into his hut. There, he laid out a mat and asked you to sit. But the mat was no resting place. It was a trap. Beneath it lay a deep pit, carefully covered. Once you sat, the earth gave way, and you fell into the darkness. Your cries would rise, but Okonkwo's face would remain cold. He would fetch a calabash of boiling water and pour it over you slowly, savoring your agony. The screams did not disturb the village, for people believed the Dibịa was performing sacrifices to appease the spirits. When death finally silenced you, Okonkwo would butcher your flesh. For days, he feasted on human meat, laughing alone in his hut while the village slept in ignorance. Rumors sometimes floated. A man would visit Okonkwo and never return. A widow would disappear, leaving behind her crying children. Bones were found in the forest, gnawed and scattered. Yet no one dared to accuse him. Fear held their tongues. After all, who confronts a Dibịa said to hold death in his hands? But the gods, though patient, never sleep. One night, Okonkwo lured another victim into his hut, a farmer who had unknowingly offended him. The mat was laid, the trap prepared. But this time, fate intervened. The mat tore too early, and the man screamed before he fell. His voice was not muffled. It tore through the silence of the night like a war horn. Hunters returning from the forest heard it. They rushed toward the sound, machetes in hand. When they burst into the hut, what they saw froze their blood. A pit filled with bones, skulls stacked like firewood, the farmer writhing in agony as hot water steamed off his flesh, and Okonkwo with wild eyes preparing his next strike. The hunters did not wait for explanations. They seized him, bound his hands, and dragged him to the village square. By dawn, the entire village had gathered. Widows wailed, men roared, children clung to their mothers. For the first time, fear turned to rage. Okonkwo was not a Dibịa. He was a devil hiding in plain sight. The elders declared his punishment. Not death by knife, not death by fire, but a death of shame. He was tied to the ancient Iroko tree where all could see him. For hours the people spat on him, cursed him, and recounted the evils he had done. His victims' families hurled ashes in his face, and the land itself seemed to reject him. By nightfall, Okonkwo was no more. His last breath was choked not by rope or flame, but by the weight of curses and the wrath of the innocent. The villagers destroyed his hut, burned his mats, and filled the deadly pit with stones so it would never again swallow another soul. But evil does not vanish so easily. From that day, the lineage of Okonkwo carried the mark of his sins. His children grew with madness in their eyes. His grandchildren wandered like broken vessels, their minds shattered. Generations after, whispers of strange illnesses and misfortunes plagued his bloodline. The people of Umudim believed it was the god's judgment, a curse that would follow his seed until the last branch of his family tree withered. Even today, parents warn their children, "Do not walk the path of wickedness, for the land remembers. The cries of the innocent rise higher than the drum, and the gods will surely answer." 1. Evil may hide, but truth never sleeps. Darkness may cover it for a season, but light will one day expose it. 2. Power without compassion destroys. Okonkwo misused his fearsome reputation, and it became the instrument of his downfall. The sins of today echo into tomorrow. One man's evil cursed his bloodline for generations. 4. Community silence empowers wickedness. The villagers' fear gave Okonkwo room to thrive. Only unity broke the chain of his terror. The story of Okonkwo is not just a tale of one man's cruelty. It is a reminder that evil, no matter how deeply buried, will always surface. The earth does not forget, the spirits do not sleep, and the blood of the innocent cries until justice is done. So live with kindness. Let your name be remembered with love, not fear. For when you are gone, it is not only your shadow that remains, but the legacy you leave behind.